Salvatore, broccoli,
Brooklyn.
whatever it is.
Mike Stambali, as my Siri likes to say. My Siri calls
No
you
one
Mike
will ever
Stambali.
know how to say my name.
Stambuli.
Public access, but you can't go on the dock.
Yeah.
All right.
We did. We will. We can.
So what? Ready?
Yep.
So I think that the fact that it's leap year kind of is adds to the narrative of what we're doing with recap.
I don't even remember when it was last time.
What?
Like what I was doing a leap year 4 years ago.
Oh, I have no idea. I mean, I could something that was not as exciting as this, probably. Right? So what was that? That was actually it was 2020. So was that like pandemic?
Oh, that's right.
Right? It was a pandemic.
COVID.
Yeah.
That's my niece says.
Yeah, COVID.
COVID.
That's funny. So I think, with everything.
I honestly didn't know what leap year was until we probably learned about it in school, but I didn't know what it was again.
Yeah. It was, so leap year was created in the year 45 by Julius Caesar. This mathematician and astrologer who was one of his advisors, his name was Sosigenes, I think that's how you pronounce it. Sosigenes went to him and was like, listen, I just figured out the year is not actually 365 days. It's actually 365 and a quarter days. And it adds a quarter, because of the rotation around the sun, it adds a quarter every year. And on the fourth year, you get a full new day out of it. And if we continued without, the way we're doing things, December eventually will get the weather of the summer, and July will get the weather of the winter.
How do you know that won't happen with global warming?
How do you know it's going to happen in the year 45? And so Caesar was like, all right, so what's the proposal? And the proposal was to add a day in February. And the reason it was February is not because it's the shortest day and you wouldn't notice, but because that's when we technically made the full rotation around the sun. Now this is all guessing based off of weather, sun trajectory, no computers obviously. But Caesar was a man of a lot of things, but if something didn't involve like imperialism, he just let them do it. So Sosigenes was like, I want to do this, this is why, it makes sense, and Caesar was like, all right, just do it. And then he got all the credit for it, Caesar got all the credit for it, and he created his calendar, which eventually was the Roman calendar, and then that became the Gregorian calendar, which is what we're on now.
Right.
So just because one guy had one idea and realized, hey, we need to, kind of need to go through this because people in 100 years from now are going to appreciate it. Little did they realize we'd be here 2,000 years later. They weren't thinking like that. They were just thinking like, how do I make my mark on the calendar?
I wonder how they figured that out back then.
That's what I'm saying.
Without what we have now.
I had to do with, I believe, the record keeping of the sundials. So they had sundials, and then they would record the sundials, and they noticed that the way the sun would hit these dials and create shadows, the shadows were not projecting the same way they were last year at the same time.
Who was marking all this?
No idea. No
I'd
idea.
like to meet that guy and shake his
Yeah,
hand.
right? Sosigenes, right? And all his other astrologers. But
I think
this wind is killing us.
Yeah, I know. It is a bit
It's
windy.
so windy. So leap year and a leap of faith into content creating.
Absolutely. What do you think about that?
It's interesting. It's fun. A lot of people know they need content, but then they are either misdirected or they think, they watch something on YouTube and then they're like, oh, this is how you do it. And then they do it, and then the consistency is hard. And I think that's kind of where we can come in and help people, is help them be more consistent in their content and have a better quality.
Or they're easily influenced, right? They hop right on, okay, I'm doing this. You see them a week straight in the stories. You see them 3-4 posts out of the week, and then ghosted themselves.
Yeah, yeah. You run out of ideas, right? You run out of ideas,
or just the time, because
time, yeah.
it is time consuming.
Yeah.
Editing takes a lot of time. We
Right.
do a lot of our editing in-house
Right.
still at the moment.
all of it.
So besides taking the time out, thinking what to post, executing, they ran out of that dopamine that they had for
That's
creating
it.
the content.
Yeah, it's the long game, right? There is a long game that's associated to content, especially like if you're creating content to build a following. Now, if you're creating content to do a commercial or whatever, that's another story. Or if you're showing off a house and you wanted a cinematic view of a listing that you're putting up, that's not evergreen content. When you're creating evergreen content, as in like content that is going to be used for a long time, or can be found at any point in time and still have a relevancy to it, that's the long game.
Right.
Not the client building
Right.
or sales.
And I think 4 years from now, the content is going to be completely different as well.
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's ever changing. Even
Yeah.
from last year,
Right.
those trends already died. We're looking at new trends into
True.
the new year. Instagram changes algorithms.
Right.
YouTube does as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure all these other platforms are following the same leap.
Yeah, yeah. So Leap, I bet you 4 years ago is when, well, no, I know. 4 years ago is when content got shorter. In a leap year. That's when the content got shorter.
Well,
TikTok.
it had started
Yeah,
because
yeah.
of COVID.
Right, because of COVID, everyone was going on TikTok because people were home and they were bored. And they were getting their work done and they were home, so then TikTok became this big thing. Short form content became short, like 5-second content. I mean, almost like shorter than like Vine from back in the day. But now the short form content is going away from the quick cuts and the fast edits, and it's going more into like what we're doing here, conversational pieces.
I'm so curious to see what in 4 years from now it will actually be like.
So curious to be recording and making content in 4 years from now and being part of what it's like
Yeah.
and taking our little space out.
Yeah. I think also hopping on the trends is fun for the moment, but we also like sticking to the organic of like
Yeah,
just having a real conversation.
right.
It's
Sit-
cold.
Yeah, it is cold. A cinematic approach. So I think you get, honestly, I think you in the next 4 years, I think that content kind of becomes more. It'll stay in short in its form for social, but it'll be more cinematic and have a better pacing, and people are going to be looking for actual emotional connection and not just information and little tidbits of entertainment.
Also that the algorithm is now searching SEO.
Yeah,
I think that if people are still doing older trends and older style of editing,
yeah,
the algorithm is just gonna like swipe right by them,
right.
and that they may fall behind in the ever shifting, evolving world of content creation.
Because the content is wide right now, and it's not deep. And I think now it's going to go deep, and not as wide. It's almost going to be like a funnel.
Because it blew up too fast.
Yeah,
That's what happened.
yeah, you're right.
Everyone
Right.
hopped on it, and I think a lot of people who were doing it maybe fell off.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're seeing some of the original creators come back with their ideas because
Well, not only did it fall off, but they're still doing it how they did it 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And
That
that's
too.
not,
Yeah.
they're not leaving the, like, even if you watch Mr. Beast, he's still doing things the way he does them, but it works for him. But if anyone else tries to do a Mr. Beast style video, they're not going to get the same type of views. They might get 1 or 2 videos that blow up, but they're not going to get like this huge organic reach.
I think it's also because he just has that following. Like if
Well, yeah,
people
it's
just follow him for that.
Kids,
so
yeah,
it's
kids
not-
love him.
Yeah.
He makes that family, I mean, the family fun content that anybody could watch. It's almost like a game show at this point.
True.
Yeah.
I personally don't watch him. I've watched.
My kids watch 'em,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've watched maybe 1 or 2 of his episodes, or whatever
Yeah.
it is.
I stay well, their episodes, I mean, their shows, I
Yeah,
mean,
they're
whatever they
almost
are, yeah.
episodes, yeah.
I stay up on what my kids watch, so my kids watch, I watch, so I just know what they're watching.
Yeah.
But like, I have never sat down and watched one Mr. Beast video from the beginning to the
No,
end.
me neither.
I've watched the beginning, I've watched the end, I just maybe not have watched the beginning and the end at the same sitting.
Right.
Well, what do you think? What do you think about all this?
I like the concrete foundation that we have, where everything that we always kind of put out is just really organic.
Yeah.
I mean, you went to school for this, so with your vision and my expertise, we kind of create like, it's very unique. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just really simple, but very impactful at the same time.
So it's the collaboration that really fuels it. It's easy, you know. I can't do what you do with any of this tech, the tech, right? I can't do it. Even with the editing, I get too frustrated. I want it now because I know what it looks like in my head.
Yeah, yeah.
But I understand the timelines enough to be like, no, splice this, do this. But I appreciate that, and you know, the creativity. It's we both are creative, but in our own ways, and
Right.
that's why it's a good collaboration.
Right. It works.
It does. It will work.
It will.
It will. It has to.
Yeah.
It has to
so
work.
4 years from now,
Okay.
I'm gonna point with my hands in my jacket.
Okay.
I
Because
can't
it's
feel
still
my
going to be
fingers
cold and
right now,
windy.
and my nose probably looks like Rudolph.
And it's going to be cold and windy because the way the solar system works. And Sosa Jeans was like, I don't need the weather to get messed up.
We'll see. All right, it's 40 degrees today with
Yeah.
wind chill, so probably feels like 20.
20, absolutely.
We'll see in 4 years from now
Yes.
how it feels,
All right.
and we'll be back. We'll be back.
We
We'll
will.
be like a side by side.
Yeah, just like right here.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Unless we get a
Maybe
nice.
we go to Florida.
Yeah, Florida's better. Yes. Florida with content, with the content, content paid money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. Is that even a sentence? Content paid money?
Sure.
Sure. Awesome. Good stuff, man.
Sorry, I had to drive. I mean, we both drove this evening.
He thinks he knows what he's doing.
I have no idea. I know tripods. I'm not completely clueless.
Yeah, I'm not stepping in that with my sneakers.